Hello guys, once again, welcome back to We Are Growth Hack. And this time I'm having a very interesting conversation from Bangkok. I love this city. I just moved here into my new place. And I have here with me a very special guest this time. Welcome Christian from BBG. How are you doing?
Very good. Nice to be here.
Nice for us to have you here. It's very exciting to have BBG on our channel for the first time. Tell us, where are you calling from, Christian?
I'm calling you from Berlin. I'm actually in my home office right now, but from beautiful Berlin. And it's about 0 degrees Celsius
Oh
right
my
now,
God.
so right in the middle of winter.
Is it snowing out there?
It was a little bit earlier, which is it snowed a lot more this year versus the previous ones
Oh, okay.
years, but we haven't really had snow on the ground stay for a lot because it gets too warm. But it kind of bounces around above and below Europe. Yeah.
Wow. I haven't seen snow for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years. So I've been back in my, where my family is in North Italy. Like it was like 3 years ago, 3 Christmas ago. And I'm stuck in Thailand at the moment, but it's a good place to be stuck in.
Very true.
So Christian, you are Director of Acquisition at BBG. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. I'm the managing director for BBG for global expansion. So that means expanding BBG through acquisitions. So we buy and grow BBG, or we grow BBG by buying and scaling brands. Yeah.
That's amazing. So for those who don't know, BBG stands, as we can see on the background, for Berlin Brands Group. And tell us a little bit more about BBG. I mean, maybe not everyone knows that BBG actually wasn't born as an aggregator, but is actually an e-commerce company with several years of presence in the market. So why don't you tell us a little bit the story of BBG and how BBG became an aggregator? I think it's you guys are number 2 right now in the market. Is that correct in terms of evaluation?
Yes, in terms of valuation, I'm pretty sure we are in activity. I'm sure also. But yes, maybe coming back to your question, who is actually BBG? So BBG has been around for almost 15 years now, 14 and some months. And we have been profitable from the beginning. And it started from our founder, Peter, with the idea of democratizing products. Because after he finished high school and when he had his break to go before going to university, he wanted to become a DJ. And found out that becoming a DJ actually requires very expensive equipment. And he was wondering why it's so expensive. So we tried to find out, and then imported the first mixers and the record players from China. And that's kind of how the business started. So it comes from the origin idea to democratize product, and it's starting itself on eBay back then when Amazon wasn't that strong. And since then, we have become now one of the biggest Amazon players and sellers here in Europe. We have, just become a unicorn. We have more than 1,000 employees. We have built 14 of our own brands. We have acquired more than 50 until the end of last year. And I think in Europe we are one of the biggest Amazon players and D2C players, and also aggregators. So we are not only an Amazon player, although we are in the top 5 of Europe. We are also, run our own web shops. So we have several different web shops in more than 28 different countries. We serve also marketplaces in 28 countries. And so we are a truly global international player, proudly based in Berlin, which is kind of the European tech hub, as we call it.
This is super interesting. And actually, guys, me personally, I've been knowing BBG for quite a while. I have known BBG since 2018. I remember we've been in touch. Actually, I've been paying a visit to BBG in their home, in the headquarters, in the office. I've met personally also Peter. We've been doing some side services and works together. So, and I remember this attention to the detail to everything, especially in their Amazon listings, the products and everything. And I have to say here, it's a very interesting entrepreneurial journey here where, a young entrepreneur, a young person with a big passion for music, for DJ, I can tell you because I have the same passion, doesn't find what he needs at the right price, and it decides to source it from China. This is amazing. And it's interesting that you said that you actually, Peter, started with eBay. At that time, Amazon wasn't that popular. I also remember I started with eBay. I remember I did exactly the same thing. I was trying to buy a mixer, but the funny thing is that the first purchase that I made on eBay was actually a scam. and I remember that after that, I said to myself, okay, guys, I had enough, because it was all of my savings. It was this 300 euro, almost 400 US dollar. And I was just a student at that time. I think I was like 13 or 14 or 15. I wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to buy the equipment. And then I said, okay, I'm going to make money online. And here we are right now, building empires and, online empires, agencies and brands. So this is very interesting. What about you? How long have you been with Berlin Brands Group, Christian?
So I've been with BBG for about 1.5 years. I started actually together with my colleague Ilya, this kind of venture of BBG. And before that, I would consider myself like a consumer marketing and e-commerce veteran. So I started my career actually at Colgate-Palmolive. Worked for them for 13 years, 8 of them in the United States. So I was actually category manager also for Walmart, really sitting next to the Walmart office in 2000 and doing category management for 8,000 stores.
Wow.
So that was quite fun. Yeah, and then I continued my career at Colgate, and then made it all the way to headquarters, new business development, responsible for all new product launches in the US. And then I came back to Germany for personal reasons, and then I worked for a private equity health company, also in the consumer product industry. Then I ran the European business unit for Olympus, consumer electronics. And then about 2014, I fully fledged and changed sides from kind of the manufacturer Colgate, Rodenstock, Olympus to kind of an e-commerce company. So I became CMO of Home24, which is one of the largest home and living pure players in Europe. And stayed there for 3 years before becoming CEO of Urbanara. And Urbanara is also direct-to-consumer brands in the home and living space, which we exited to an e-commerce conglomerate in 2019. Yes, and then in between I've also did some side deals in the e-commerce space, and that's how I actually got back together with Peter. I wanted to talk to him about a deal, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm buying brands and looking for brands. I said, let's do it together. So that's how I ended up at BBG.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So as director of acquisition at BBG, what does your daily work look like? What do you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, so we have our jobs a little bit split up. So my main focus is deal origination and the valuation of the company. So I am out and my team is out and about to look for interesting brands that we can acquire that have a good fit for us and also have a strong performance, like the key indicators that we're looking for. And then we engage with them on different ways, by email, talking to them, meeting with them at events. And then the whole kind of, conversation starts. And then we, once we are getting to a point where the seller is interested, we also receive the information to then put a valuation together, and then we negotiate also the valuation and the term sheet, as you normally call it in the market, the letter of intent, the LOI. And that's what I will do. And then we hand it over to our due diligence team, but of course stay close with the brand owner and the seller, and also continue to be close to them until they're fully integrated and the brand is onboarded to BBG. What
kind of sellers actually is Berlin Brands Group going after? I mean, what is the best seller for you, the best profile? What kind of seller actually BBG would be the best choice if someone is looking for an exit? Yeah, so we are looking across category at interesting players. We don't really focus on food or apparel or fast fashion or supplements, but besides that, we're pretty much looking at all the kinds of categories because we are already operating in multiple different categories, in sports, in home and living, in household goods, in
in garden and so electronics, of course, also. So we already understand multiple categories and continue to also look at multiple categories. So that's kind of what we do, but we rather have some that we don't do, which I just explained. And then we look for brands where we, of course, can see potential that the owner has already unleashed, right, in terms of like traction, growth, also being reflected in the Amazon ranking and the number of reviews and the sales performance. But what we also want and what we also consider is, how can we continue to scale the brand on the BBG platform? What makes us and what separates us from the other acquirers is that we actually have our own, that we call it our own platform, our technology, our scaling platform, where we put the brands that we acquire and see, okay, from these 100 channels that we have and from all these different direct to consumer shops we already have in place, where can we actually put this brand and where can we grow it and what is the potential that we can then unleash and capture together? And I think so it's a little bit difficult to say we are looking for exactly this, but at the end of the day, what we want to see is traction and continued traction on our platform. And that's really also where the beauty comes in for the seller, because, normally if you are, you can be flat or you can be fast growing, and the people who are normally fast growing say, hey, you know what? I don't want to sell yet because I'm so fast growing, and then I want to sell when I'm flattened out. But actually for us, what we tell the founders is like, that's exactly the right moment when it comes to join BBG, because we will be able to continue to help you grow, and you will also continue to benefit from the growth of BBG. Also the way we structure the earnout and the likelihood and the reliability and the confidence that you can have in our earnouts is obviously significantly higher versus some of the competitors, just given the structure that we have in place and given the different marketplaces that we are serving, and also the track record that we have established.
Yeah. This is definitely interesting, and something that I have seen with a lot of accounts that I've been managing, a lot of clients, is that sometimes you don't know for how long you're gonna grow. Your brand is gonna grow, your sales are going to grow, just because you can't predict, or because you don't have the power to scale your business. You're not even thinking of scaling your business so much as you actually need. So probably for some sellers, when they are asked, you should sell right now, this is the right moment to sell. That's actually the right moment to sell, because there might be an end to this growing curve, and you don't know when it comes. Some of my clients, for example, some of my friends, some of the sellers that I know, they stopped growing right during COVID, some after COVID, they would never know. You can never know as a seller, because you actually need to have a big machine that is operating, that is able to scale your business. So when you are presented the opportunity, it might not come back. So how does it actually work for BBG? How do you normally onboard sellers? Can you tell us a little bit more details of what kind of sellers you're looking for, or is actually BBG is actually willing to work with when it comes to your numbers or sales? Or we've talked about the category already, but maybe you can give us a little bit more detail.
Yes, of course. So we're normally looking for sellers that have reached like 1 million in sales already, or have a very strong trajectory that they will reach it. But normally we say minimum of 1 million. Then we can go all the way to even higher than 100 million, because we have the funding in place, also and the backing and the platform to do that. Of course, the sweet spot also of the number of sellers is somewhere between 1 and 5 or 3 and 7. That's kind of the sweet spot. But we also acquire brands who are 10, 15, 20 million. So we have acquired actually all already, because we acquired over 50 brands so far. So it's kind of like,
that's amazing.
Quite a wide spectrum. But the sweet spot, of course, starts at 1 and probably goes to 7 to 10. That's kind of where the majority of the sellers are. And this is also where I would say most of the sellers are probably in the right spot to sell right now, because taking a brand from 5 million to 20 million, also from my own experience when scaling brands in my previous career, that takes a different skill set, and that takes a different, it takes also a different risk profile. You start your own business, you import from Amazon, from China, and from Alibaba, whatever, and you find this product, or you have an industry connection, and then you start and you grow, and it works, right? And then you continue to grow and you continue to grow. But at some point, the bets become higher, and you also need a different team to do it, right? So then you don't have it all under control. You have to give it up. And then you also have to buy more inventory in order to actually generate the sales. And as we all know, how important it is to maintain in stock and to be available. That means that you also have to actually increase it. And then we have the supply chain problems that we had, and then we have problems left and right in the last couple of years. I think there have been so many challenges thrown at the founders that sometimes you're not the expert of all these kinds of elements anymore. You can't be a supply chain expert at an Amazon PPC and at Amazon SEO, and then also you wanted to grow it on D2C on Shopify, and then you want to do Instagram. Like it becomes so complex that you need a partner that can kind of take these things off you and is the expert in these things, and then continue to grow your brand. So we are actually looking for owners who kind of also realize, and you know what, I've reached this point now. And I feel like in order to grow from here to there, I need a different skill set. I need a different risk profile, and because normally it's also linked to bank loans that you need to take out on the business with personal liabilities, etc. So it becomes a completely different game. So in this stage, we say, you know what, maybe it's the right time to sell, and then you take the money and actually just build another brand with the exact same skill set that you have proven. And then you get to that level again and you sell it again. It's a beautiful thing, right? Because we can take a brand that has already made it, and then we can continue to scale it on our platform. And the owner can focus on what they do and he do right, which is actually building it and getting the traction, right? That's what's attractive for us. So that's really what we're aiming for. And once we kind of have engaged in the talks, we get to know each other. We always say to our founders that we talk to, do your own due diligence too, check out who you want to engage with. But normally the people are very happy to sell to BBG. So most of the conversations that we're in, we're actually also winning. And then we, then kind of you get to an agreement in terms of pricing, and then what is so-called the due diligence starts. And the due diligence is just another, let's say, detailed analysis from our team on the performance of your business. We look at, supplier relationship, we look at the net unit costs, are they accurate in supply chain, also how you've booked, the Amazon performance, the marketing spending. We also check out, of course, compliance. Are these products compliant, and are you adhering to all the regulations that are required to sell the product? So those are important elements that we check. And then, during this time, our key departments already engage with you, so they have a good understanding of the brand. And then pretty soon after, we share the purchase agreement, you have a check from your lawyer. That normally goes also fast, and then we agree, then the money is being transferred, and then the handover process starts, which can take anywhere from, depending on the complexity of the brand and also the size of the brand, anywhere between 1 and 3 months normally, and then we take it over. And then the founder is often willing and excited to stay engaged, of course, see how the brand is doing and providing input. Hey, I had this new product idea, and staying in touch with our brand manager. But it's also free to work on this next idea. The next idea could be moving to Thailand and relaxing for some time, or starting the next brand. We don't know. But it's definitely the founder has his free or her free time back.
Yeah, some people would like to also enjoy and relax and sit back, maybe not think about working for a little bit, but that's not that's not what I'm doing here. Still working, even though I'm in Thailand. I'm you can come over. We can have some business talk. I want again to stress to this topic. It takes a different skill set to grow from 0 to 100K, from 100K to 1 million, from 1 million to 5 million, then to 20 million, then to 100 million. Your business is going to be different. You have to be different. Your team has to be different, has to be larger probably. You have to scale. So you might get to that point where you get stuck. And if you get stuck, if you're not growing, let me tell you guys, if you're listening to this right now, if you're even thinking about selling your business, if you're not growing, it doesn't matter if you're stuck at 1 million or 10 million or 100K, if you're not growing or if you're going down, no one is going to buy your business.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Much more difficult. Yes, absolutely. Fully agree.
It doesn't matter how much money you're making, but if you're going down or if you're absolutely not growing, no one is going to buy your business because you have developed this skill set that very good. You've been growing from 0 to 100K, then to 1 million, 2, 3, 10 million. But if you don't do the next step, if you don't scale, you'll probably not sell it. Because who's the aggregator that actually wants to see a business that is going down or that is not growing, that has not been growing for 1 year? No one. You know, among all of the aggregators that we've been talking to, of course, no one. The number one is growth. So correct. Of course, different aggregators got their different, baseline, but the number one is growth. So Christian, tell us, I have a very interesting question for you. What's, taking apart the money, the monetary benefit for a Amazon brand owner to sell their business to BBG, what makes them happy to sell their brands to BBG? If you could name a few reasons why.
Of course. I mean, reasons why they could sell is also kind of they realized, I've reached my limit. And we've actually talked to a lot of those founders where they say, it's getting a little bit too complicated for me. And now I need to become an expert because it's also getting more competitive. Yeah. And then we have a lot of Chinese, local manufacturers are even coming in on Chinese teams. And there's a lot more, let's say, aggression out there and hunger right now. And also the willingness to pay up in terms of advertising spending in some categories where it really becomes super competitive, where the founder says, it's time for me to kind of cash out, find my new niche and then kind of build that. But this thing is too stressful for me because number one, I need to be winning in this environment, but the bets are bigger too. Now it's not 100,000 container that I'm ordering, it's 3 million or 2 million, 3 million, 5 million of inventory that's coming in. And if I don't get this right, or am I blocked because of Amazon, because I'm trying to win and do all these things, or maybe can't even deliver because my third-party warehouse is having power outage or a corona sickness workers, like the risks are getting bigger, right? And the confidence of you winning in this and may not be as strong as before. So those sellers normally are good, but we also have sellers, they're super confident and they say, I'm handing it over to you. I trust BBG. You have proven it. Not only on Amazon, but also on other channels. I fully trust you. And then they happily go take a break. And then 2 months later, I see them and they call me up and say, hey, I have this new idea. What do you think about it? Mm-hmm. And so that's quite exciting. So and then there's also the people who, it's interesting because it's a different type of negotiation. Then you also have the founders who are a little bit older, who are like in their mid-50s, who kind of built this up, with their sweat and hard work. And they're getting to, we're ready to retire now, and we have set this goal for us. And if we can reach this, we're ready to sell. And what's very important for them is also that they hand over the brand in good hands, and that's really actually our motto is like, you're handing your brand when you're selling to BBG in good hands, because we can take it over. We have the team in place. We have the infrastructure in place to take it over, to maintain the success level that you have, but also to able to grow it, in different international markets. And with that comes actually the certainty that not only the upfront money is coming, because everybody can guarantee you the upfront. Yeah. That's why also it's important for you to negotiate, et cetera, et cetera. But if you are in the mid-50s and that's your retirement thing, you want to make sure that the rest is also coming because you're planning on it and you're betting your retirement on it. And so you really want to make sure that this money is coming. And I think what for them, it's very important, the certainty of the earn-out component. And that's why we also, especially when we have this conversation, we make sure that we explain it, 3 or 4 times, that they really have the confidence and that they have all the information that they give. But normally, the people also happily sell to BBG in this case. Yeah.
Let's say a little bit more, because we're talking about this retirement money. How does the payment work? You have an upfront payment, and then you have some payment that is coming later. So we want to know, how is it structured? When the seller is expecting to receive the second or third or fourth payment? Does it depend on the performance? What are the parameters?
Yeah. So there are different parameters in the market, right? So you have parameters in the market of upfront, then you have some do stability payments, and then you have the earn-up. And the earn-up structure is really critical that you do the due diligence properly, because some have their share, a part, but some others only share a part if a certain threshold is being met. They say, hey, I'm sharing with you everything of the profit that we make together that is higher than where you were before. But that means they actually, first of all, they have to be able to maintain your profit level, and then to also being able to grow your money for you to actually see 1 cent. Mm-hmm. So it's actually you need to be really sure and ask, well, okay, prove me where you have grown the brand, prove me where you have been successful, right? And so in our case, what we do is we actually have an upfront payment, which is paid actually a couple of days after the transaction. So it's literally like immediately. Mm-hmm. And then we have an earn-up, which is paid annually. But the earn-up, the way we structure it, is actually you always get an earn-up, because what we do is we let you participate on what we call the profit contribution too. So that means on all the sales that we're generating on your products, like the net sales, we deduct the cost of goods sold, and we deduct your logistics, your variable costs like logistic costs and marketing spending. And so from what's left over from that, we're actually sharing the piece with you. So that if the sales are going slightly down or growing again, for whatever reason, another supply chain crisis, another corona wave, whatever may come, we don't have this high watermark where we say, I'm sorry, we are 95% of sales versus prior year, you don't get anything. But you will never have that with BBG. Mm-hmm. You will always get your payment because we are letting you participate on a very high level of the P&L of the sales, just minus variable cost. Fixed cost is our responsibility, not yours. And we pay you without any thresholds. Mm-hmm. So that's why we also stand out in our structure compared to competitors.
Yeah, this is really good. So as we just entered 2022, we touched this point already. The market is, I don't want to say saturated, but we have a lot of competitors on Amazon. It's super expensive. I repeat, I have started selling on Amazon in China, in Shenzhen in 2014. And I remember when, PPC for the keywords such as iPhone, the cost per click was 50 cents. That is incredible and unthinkable right now. It's probably like $5 or $10. The market is changing. I always say it's becoming not only a pay to play, but also a game where the bigger is literally eating the small fish. The bigger fish is eating the small fish. So where is BBG standing? And also not only in terms of how you guys operate Amazon and how you're confident online on Amazon, with your expertise, with your experience of the products and the listings, the good ranks that you guys have already on Amazon, but also when it comes to logistics, for example. So how does BBG position as a powerful, not only aggregator, but e-commerce player today, looking also into the near future?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Let me start with this. So BBG, we actually don't see ourselves as an aggregator. Like, we are passionate about products and we love to build brands. And most of the people like myself, we come from the brand building side and the e-commerce side, and we didn't just jump into a business model that we copycatted from Thrasio and think we can make a lot of money. So we say, we're going to do this now. All the people that you can see at BBG who were working on your brands and who've been growing this company for the last 14 years are passionate about building brands and are passionate about products. And we are a product-driven company. And Peter is actually the founder, is still involved in the product development because it's so elementary. So such an important aspect of the business, right? So that's very important. And then, of course, how we have proven that we can be successful also with this investor change right now. We have received a ton of money, which will enable us to scale. And this is actually what we're doing. So we are actually scaling our teams right now and scaling our technology. So we are building more and more warehouses, which allows us to be closer to the consumer, also with shorter delivery times across all Europe, and also UK and US, where we are building building up teams. So these are the core markets where we are growing, and where we also, of course, continue to sell, also use to some extent FBA, but we also build up our own warehouse infrastructure to not only be dependent on Amazon, to also be able to, from the warehouse, serve Amazon, but also our own web shops and the other marketplaces where we are successful, right? So that's a pretty big fundamental change from us to others, right? And in regards to focus and future is, we believe it will become more and more competitive, of course, but we believe that we are well positioned to do so, especially in the fragmented Europe. You know, we have multiple languages, multiple countries, multiple VAT things, and I think there are very few who are able to sell to so many countries, 28 in total globally than us, right? So I think checkmark, we are good on this. We also, of course, focus on our core business. You know, our core business is still our core, and we continue to grow it. And of course, our goal is to acquire many brands that become, you know, as big or bigger than the core used to be. But we're doing both, right? We're building core, and we're building M&A, and we're using our platform, our scalable platform that we've built, and to do that. Yes, the competition is going increasing, coming back to the market, but we also believe that there will be always an opportunity on Amazon to build brands, no matter how big the competition in China is. There's always new trends, there's always new niches, there's always new categories. And I think, you know, the entrepreneurial spirit, I don't think you can ever kill, right? So there will always be entrepreneurs out there. There will always people who take the courage to start something new, to build something. And then they potentially get to a point at some point where they say, you know what, I've taken it this far, I don't know any further, please take it over. And then that's the right moment when BBG likes to step in.
That's amazing. I love it. So brands first, even the name of the company is saying that, Berlin Brands Group. So starting from Berlin, and then I understand it's all over the world, all across the world. So you guys have warehouses, you know, in Europe, you have a quite strong network, and you are building and building more. And, you know, you are developing this network in the United States as well. I think also in Asia somewhere. Was it in Hong Kong?
We have two teams, one in Shenzhen and one in Hong Kong. But
so we're neighbors.
Really to, exactly. So focus is really to source there and to use the skill set that we have available in the market. But the selling, we are focused right now in Europe, US, and UK.
Yeah. So, and I also understand from the way that you're saying, with, you know, very passionately, that people who are doing this job have been doing this job for a while. So BBG has been out there for, is it 15 years?
15 years now, yes. Yeah.
15 years, you know, developing brands from across every other platform. My last question would be, what are the next steps? I mean, not only looking into Amazon, but, you know, because BBG didn't start with Amazon, of course, but started as a, you know, e-commerce company. And, you know, I guess you guys also do retail for, if I'm not wrong. Is that correct?
We do some in Eastern Europe. Yeah, it's not really our focus, also to be clear, but it is the case that in Eastern Europe, in some markets, it is good to have presence also in retail stores, also to grow your brand. Again, building brands, right? Because the people like to touch it, see it. It's a little bit, a couple of years behind, you know, and then eventually they feel comfortable. They have had a touch point with a brand, and then they feel comfortable to buy it online. So this is what we're building kind of from the ground up. In some of the Eastern European markets where we're expanding, we're actually also very strong. And in terms of future, I believe, we will continue to be successful on Amazon. We will continue to also build our own shops. So we are actually scaling a lot our teams to build and continue to build the direct-to-consumer arm of BBG. And this is probably also another focus area for us. And of course, then also the marketplaces. You know, we follow all the marketplaces. There are some stronger ones in Poland, for example, where we are well positioned and continue to kind of grow, because, you know, once you start early, you can easily kind of grow with them. So that's what we like to do, but really also focus is C2C.
That's great. So Christian, thank you very much. I think we have shared a lot of information here. We gave a lot of advices. So guys, don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe, do all this good stuff. We will leave the contact information of Christian down in the description. So if you want to get in touch, we will leave the website of BBG, Berlin Brands Group. If you want to get in touch with us, if you want to have an optimization on your store, just get in touch so you can get your store ready for an exit before you hand it over to the right one. So thank you very much, Christian, once again for being with us.
Very welcome.
And I'll see you guys at the next time. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.